Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Green Man channel. Hope you're all doing good and well. So it's time for another episode of Dark Horse Discs, the series where we talk about albums that tend to be underappreciated in bands' discographies. And this time round, we're talking about Pat Benatar and her eighth studio album, her ninth overall, which is called True Love. And this week's choice is Rocco's choice. And we're going to be doing the usual three rounds here. First round, we talk about our first impressions. The second round, we choose our three favourite songs, which is always kind of like the opposite of Is It That Bad? For those of you who watch Is It That Bad? And then the final round, we'll sort of say why we think it's a bit of a dark horse and also where we might rank it in the Pat Benatar discography if we know, I guess, enough of the discography to be able to rank it. So yeah, I'm joined by the regular Dark Horse crew here. I've become the regular Dark Horse crew for the past couple of months. And this is episode 7. We have one more episode left, which is a very special episode I'm lining up for first week of December. So I'm looking forward to sharing that one when we get around to recording that one too. But let's start with this Pat Benatar discussion of True Love. And we'll start with Rocco.
While I liked some of Pat Benatar's hits, I was never a diehard fan. I did, however, get to see her in concert this year. Her voice got slightly deeper with age, but she still sounds amazing. One album she very rarely performs live is this one, True Love, which is a full-on blues album. And out of all the songs on that album, she has played the title track most frequently, but even then, she hasn't performed it live since 2017. In fact, most of the album hasn't been performed live since she toured for it in 1991. I suspect a big part of that has to do with the fact that although she is proud of the album, the critics tore it to shreds.
Hmm.
And it didn't have any big hits. The only single was her cover of the B.B. King song Paying the Cost to Be the Boss. And that was a very minor rock radio hit, especially compared to her big songs from the 80s. Speaking of which, there was quite a lot of blues on the rock charts in the few years preceding this album. Robert
Mhm.
Cray, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Eric Clapton. Heck, speaking of B.B. King, U2 had a big hit with him uh, called When Love Comes to Town off of Rattle and Hum. So in theory, there shouldn't have been that much of a change from that, that aspect. But as I said, the critics didn't see it that way. Before I heard this album for the first time, I expected something way worse based on the bad reviews, but I was very pleasantly surprised. I don't think she does anything wrong with this style of music. On the contrary, I thought the album was very fun and that Pat has a good soulful voice for this material.
Cool. Yeah, I noticed the critics were quite harsh on it. It made me think whether it was also one of these kind of albums that could cross over into Is It That Bad? It kind of could fit into either series a little bit, but that's
Yeah,
Yeah.
purely on the critics' reaction. I don't know what the fans' reaction was like for this one, but
this album has a couple of defenders.
okay. A couple. That's
I mean,
enough.
I haven't done a survey or anything.
The survey.
We could organise that afterwards, maybe.
Ooh.
JC.
Okay, so I knew Pat Benatar from back in the day, and I'm talking about her first like few albums. So when her first album came out, 1979, I was only like 8 years old, but my older brother had a bunch of her records. Well, back in like he had like the In Heat of Night, Crimes of Passion, which is probably my favorite, and Get Nervous. I remember that one. So I know those albums well. I know the hits. I know some of the hits from the 80s, but I never really listened to her other than like the first like 3 or 4 albums. So I went into this kind of surprised because it was completely different than what I know. Because if you listen to her first 4 albums, it's pretty much like hard rock music. I would even say bordering on like heavy metal at times. But this album completely different blues, like that swing music, like 1940s. It's different. I mean, she does it well. I mean, she has a good voice and all that. I think, yeah, as a solo artist, is I think like it's if she wants to change her style, it's fine. I think like she shouldn't really be judged for wanting to do something completely different. But so I think I understand why people say they didn't like it because it's a complete departure from her like pop rock, maybe even hard rock type of sound that she did on her like first bunch of albums. I mean, like this is actually well, it's album like number like one, three, four, five, six, seven. It's
Eight or
her
nine,
eighth
I think it
album,
was.
yeah, 8 or 9. So she had a bunch of albums before this, and it's like the 70s or 80s. So she was pretty much releasing one album a year, and I think this was like the biggest gap between albums, I believe, at that point. So it's something that like completely different for her. So I understand that. For me, it was a little different. I thought it was like well done. I thought like the songs were good. It's a mix of covers and some original stuff. So I thought it was very well done. But again, I felt it was just very different than from what I remember of listening to her when I was very young. So
Yeah, cool.
So,
Hector.
I'm a casual Pat Benatar, like JC, the hits. I remember the hits. And to this day, I agree with Pat Benatar. Love is a battlefield. So going into this one, I had no idea about this album, but I did go and see like the reviews for this. There was one reviewer that gave this album a 0 out of 5 and a woof, and I'm like, okay, so I gotta be honest, blues is not my thing, so this is not an album that I love, but I to the on that point because I was speaking this with Rocco yesterday.
Hmm.
uh, Pat Benatar has a good voice. Like I don't think there's any song here that she sings bad. It's just not my cup of tea in some of the songs, and she has a few originals here. So yeah, to me this is it was a strange album because I'm used to listening to her hits, and I really don't know much about Pat Benatar, but yeah, like I listened to it. And as a blues album. So not my cup of tea, but I like I agree with JC, but it's well done. So those are my initial thoughts.
Thanks, Hector. Yeah, my initial thoughts on this one were this doesn't sound like the typical Pat Benatar record. Again, I mean, I don't know many of her albums myself. I think JC quoted two that I do know, which Crimes of Passion and Get Nervous. So I remember being very familiar with Love is a Battlefield quite a while back as one of the songs of hers I've known for a long, long time. So this was a bit of a change up, and then I sort of thought that made me realise why Rocco might have chosen it because then I looked at the critics' ratings as well, and they were all really quite bad. I mean, I was thinking to myself, there are far worse albums than this that I've seen, get better receptions. So I was a bit surprised at the zero rating. I think that's very harsh because, like you say, Hector, this is a well performed album. A little like you, I mean, blues, I'm kind of blow hot and cold with. I enjoy it in certain contexts with me. I love kind of blues in sort of a laid back atmosphere with a beer, maybe, but not as necessarily a choice record. I wouldn't necessarily choose a blues record, or sort of classic kind of blues sound that this album has, I think. And I believe in her early days, didn't she perform a lot of more kind of certainly bluesy? I feel like before her albums, even she performed in a band where they did maybe this style or a similar style. I might be wrong on that. I felt like I read that
I wouldn't know,
somewhere.
but I believe that.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe she wanted to do something um, more for her. I know her and her husband. I mean, it was in fact there were some covers on here as well, weren't there? They weren't just her and her husband, who is the guitarist as well, which I didn't actually know
Right.
until
Yeah,
digging in. So the
Oh yeah, they've been
yeah,
working together for decades at this point.
yeah, and one thing I'll say, I mean, going back to some of her other albums, I really like his guitar work. I thought he's obviously a great guitarist. So yeah, it was first impression, something different. I wouldn't say I was necessarily sort of blown away by the album, but I did enjoy it for what it was. And yeah, I'll avoid saying any of my favourite tracks just yet. Got to do that for the next round. And so we will, on that point, go to our next round, which is going to be our three favourite songs from True Love,
Mhm.
the Rocco.
So I'm gonna start with the title track. I love the bluesy noir vibe. I picture a scene from an old Humphrey Bogart movie where he walks alone down a street at night. It's very smooth stuff. And then I Get Evil, which is an Albert King cover. Pat just switched the genders of the song. Like in the original song, he's singing about a woman. This time she's singing about a man. Still a very fun track. And then my favorite song on the album is I Feel Lucky. This and I Get Evil are, swinging, dancing songs. This one especially, I listen to it and I'm like bobbing my head up and down. Really fun song. But a lot of the album is pretty fun. I'm also going to give a shout out to Bloodshot Eyes, the album opener,
Oh
and
yeah,
So Long. Yeah, th those are, but like, I have my three picks. Yeah.
cool. JC?
Okay. Yeah, I probably maybe like the blues songs a little better. So I'll say my first one, "Paying the Cost to Be the Boss." It's a BB King song, and it just I really just like the rhythm and blues sound of it, and I think like she really does a really good job in this one. I like the horns and all that, so I thought that was a good one. And my other one, I'm gonna pick another BB King song. I've got Papers on You. Another one. It just feels like it. I think it's just like a good blues song. I think she does it well. The vocals are really good. I like the guitar sound on it. So I thought that was a really good one. And I'll pick one more. I'm gonna pick the title track, "True Love," because I think that's like one of the songs that's like just written by her and her husband. So, and that was one of the singles. I think they made a music video for this one. So I think this is just Pat Benatar just doing herself, but doing just what she wanted to do. She's writing a blues song, and it just shows off her voice, where she can kind of show off more like the power in her voice. So I think that I like that part of this song, which is the title track, "True Love." So those are my three picks. Yeah.
Good choices.
Okay.
Hector?
So, for me, this is a hard album to like pick songs because I'm not into blues. Uh, but I can respect it as a musical form. It's not Kid Rock. On
Yeah,
that
this is a
respect,
hundred times better than what we've just given.
or anything. So
Handily.
I picked True Love, which was one of the original tracks, because I think on that one, Pat Benatar shows a different side of her voice because like she does have a good voice, and like she had a lot. I didn't realize how many albums she had. Maybe it's because like I just know the hits mainly. So I think True Love, and I picked the other tracks I picked is So Long. I thought that was good, and one of the softer ones on the album, Evening, which was one of
Hmm.
the more softer songs on the album. So I picked those three.
We're identical, Hector. Those are my three as well.
Ooh.
Oh wow,
Yeah, yeah. So
we're twinning.
I think I like the sort of the slower loungy kind of
Hmm.
that sort of that sort of tempo on this record, and that allows Pat to kind of really show off the vocals as well. I think that's why I like those. So Long was one of mine, and that's apparently a cover of a Russ Morgan 1940 song.
Hmm.
Um, True Love, as I think we might have all picked, actually, all
I
of us
think
picked that one.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
like the brassy sound of the song. It's got a sort of sassy vibe about it. Really good little blues guitar licks as well throughout the track, I noticed, which I really liked. And the final one I've got is also Evening, which he also picks Hector. Apparently, this one is actually a 30s song as well,
Mm.
written by Mitchell Parish and Harry Wright, and released by Cab Calloway and his Cotton Club Orchestra in 1934. So
Okay.
yeah, um, and I liked that one. So again, slower tempo kind of a track, very laid back, but expertly performed as well. And yeah, so that's all my three choices, isn't it? So yeah, I think I'm getting confused because I picked so many. I felt like I picked four for the Kid Rock album that we've just been talking about. So yeah, I think those are my three favorites from this album. So we move into our final round where we talk about why it's a dark horse disc and where we'd rank it as well in discography. So back to Rocco again.
I like that we're talking about the Kid Rock album as if it isn't going to come out like several weeks from now.
Oh yeah, it's a while away, and this is going to come out quite soon. So yeah, that's going to confuse
Yeah.
people probably, but never mind.
Uh,
We're building
yeah.
anticipation.
Yeah,
I think this album is a dark horse, and JC touched on this simply because people expected Pat to keep making, the same music that made her famous in the late 70s and all the way through the 80s. But in my opinion, this album did not deserve the reception it got. This is probably a controversial take, but this is my personal favorite Pat Benatar album. Uh, I I just listen. So like you guys were saying, like you don't listen to a lot of blues. I do. I don't listen to like a ton of it, but I feel like I listen to more of it by comparison. So I'm more familiar with this kind of sound, and I think she did a really good job with it.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So you like your blues and blues artists, then
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, awesome. Yeah, I think she performed it really well. Cool. All right, JC.
Okay. Well, for me, kind of like what Hector said before, it's kind of like not my cup of tea. Like I think the album's done well, it sounds well, and all that. Like her vocals are really great, but it's not really the type of music I listen to. So for me, I haven't listened to all her albums. I probably listened to like mostly like the first like four or five as far as listening to a full album. So I prefer that just early 80s hard rock pop sound that she has. So I'll always gonna like those albums a lot better. So as far as ranking this, I don't know where I would rank it because I haven't like listened to all of her albums, but it might be one of that's like ranked lower for me. But with that being said, I don't think it's like a bad album. It's just one that I just like that type of sound. Like I prefer her other sound, so that's why I would like rank it lower. But I don't think it's a bad album. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that leaves me. So you know why I think this probably was a dark horse? First of all, she had all that music in the 80s, which was for like more rock, pop rock, which I do enjoy more. And also this came out in 1991 when you have like Guns N' Roses releasing albums, Metallica, like the music shift had probably changed, and probably Pat Benatar. I think her last album before this. When did it came out, Rocco? Like 87 or
I think
88?
88.
88, Wide Awake in Dreamland. Yeah.
88. 4 years have passed, so maybe like a lot of people had forgotten Pat Benatar. Her fans were older. Uh, to me, like I said, this is not my cup of tea of music, but I can't say it's bad because it's well performed. It's just not for me. So I don't know Pat Benatar album well enough to rank it, but I like her older stuff better. Like I think, like I said, "Love Is a Battlefield." Yeah, I think that's my favorite song from her. Uh, and We Belong. She has some. I think she has some good '80s stuff. So this one, when I listen to this album, I think this is more like a passion project. This I think she made this album for her
Yeah.
and her
Yeah.
husband. She didn't make it like thinking, like, this is going to blow up on the charts. I think at that point in her career, she had had her success, and she put that out. And after that, she only had like three more albums after this,
Yeah. But
Yeah.
she's still
and so,
touring.
but she's still touring. But I think obviously her her heyday was the '80s. So at that
Yeah.
moment, like her popularity. Come on, you had Madonna, you had like other like female artists, maybe like gaining popularity. So I do believe it is a dark horse because maybe her fans were expecting an 80s sounding Pat Benatar and they got a blues record. So that's why I think maybe it's a dark horse because it fits the criteria for a dark horse, or is it that bad? But the critics were, I, they were way. I don't love this album, but I think they were like a 0 out of 5. That's really harsh. Like she
Yeah.
sings well, so yeah, that's why I believe it's a dark horse.
Yeah, I feel like the stylistic change is the thing that makes this one a dark horse for me as well. And I suppose it fitting somewhat the dark horse discs timeline of those albums that are where artists have become a bit tired of doing the same thing or similar thing over and over again, that they just want to change the style of music a bit, do something different for an album. Whether or not the critics are going to like it or not is up to the critics, and they just do it for themselves. And I feel like this is just that category of album.
How,
Um,
what's an album that came out this year that could, I love it, but it could defeat a hard dark horse in the future is the new AFI.
oh yeah, yeah, true.
Oh yeah, I think Chili just did a review of that.
Yeah, I reviewed it as well, but because they did a totally change of sound.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't looked at what the critics' reaction was to that one actually. I liked the album quite a bit. Yeah, I haven't seen what the critics' reaction was, but yeah, that probably fits as a dark horse type. I mean, they've got a couple of dark horses AFI though. Outside of their 90s and early 2000s era, there are some really good albums there, I think, as well. Yeah, and I like Bodies a lot, which not a lot of people liked, I believe. I liked Bodies personally.
Bodies by Drowning Pool?
No, AFI.
AFI, AFI had
Oh,
an
they
album
also have a
called
song called Bodies.
Bodies.
I don't really know anything about AFI.
Yeah, I know we've gone off on a slight. AFI Bodies, I think, was 2021. Um, Good album. Anyway, we've gone off a slight tangent. Yeah, where I'd rank this one as well, I think, because the albums I only know pretty well, Crimes of Passion and Get Nervous, and now as well as this one. So I probably would have to put this third, but like JC said, it doesn't make it a bad album. It's just different. Probably gravitate slightly more towards her rock sound. So yeah, that's probably why. But yeah, definitely a dark horse. Thank you, Rocco, for picking something different and also something which helps heal from what we've all just been listening to at about the same
Absolutely.
time. So I'm grateful for that. And yeah, so we'll do a quick roundup of what's coming up on everyone's channels before we close things off. So Rocco, what have you got coming up on Rock of All Ages?
Uh, I have a pretty busy month of releases in November. Um, I don't know when this is coming out, but Hector and I made a video about an Aerosmith album that is coming out on November 4th.
This is the 4th of November as well, I think. Yeah, 4th of
Okay,
November.
so earlier in the same day, we have an episode talking about Done with Mirrors by Aerosmith.
Nice.
Yeah, and then later in the month, we're talking about Bad Religion, we're talking about A Day to Remember, AC/DC, System of a Down, a lot of stuff going on.
Busy schedule. That sounds, yeah.
Hmm.
All right. JC, you got your CD and vinyl
Yeah,
channels, haven't you? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm basically going to be doing new releases, album reviews. I'll probably be focusing more on just single releases. And usually at the end of the month, I'll do like a wrap up. So I have my best metal albums of October, which I made a list. I just have to kind of like just wrap it up and record it and all that. And then in November, I'll still be doing new album releases. There's still a lot of good albums that I'm looking forward to. We have Agnostic Front coming out, and I'm just looking out what else is coming out. Lynch Mob has an album coming out. The Halo Effect has an EP, which actually I heard I have a promo of that one, so that one's pretty cool. So there's some good stuff coming out in November. I'll be doing solo, and then in December I usually just do my end of the month, end of the year videos where I just do my lists. So that's basically what I have coming up here.
Yeah, it's approaching that time when we all look at our lists and try and work out what our top however
Yeah,
many.
I started. 'Cause I had some free time this weekend, so I kind of started just putting everything in a spreadsheet and just
Yeah,
planning it all out. So yeah, but there's still another month left of some good stuff. And even in December, there's like I just found out a Peter Criss album is coming out in like the end of December. So I'm looking forward to that as well. So I'll probably review that, even though I'll probably have all my end of the year videos out by then. But I'll probably do a solo review of that.
nice.
Yeah.
Hector.
Nice. So this weekend, there's a new Is It That Bad for the latest album by Tame Impala, who, funny enough, until a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, I thought was a Florida rapper. But it turns out he's from Australia. I didn't know, but this was uh, I saw that it got mixed reviews, so we did this one. And on that episode, we had the return of Nick Zeno to the channel. So Nick returned to
Hey,
Is It
Nick.
That Bad for that one? So that one's up right now. And also this weekend for some reason, like the last few days, I talk a lot about Australia bands. I did a review of an Australian band called Bloom,
Yeah,
which is a great band. But when I did Bloom Australia, I know where to buy my wedding dress now in Australia if I choose to do so. And also, I did an interview of a band from Tasmania that plays like ambient, like some shoegazy electronic music called Radio India, or All India Radio, sorry. And I did a interview of that. So it's pretty cool interview. We talk about Dune, we talk about like sci-fi, and also I interviewed the youngest person on my channel. I interviewed an 11-year-old rapper named
nice.
Young, and uh, it's almost a TikTok because it's like a less than 8 minute interview.
All right.
Uh, I was like, kid, do you like Halloween? I guess I'm like, give me something, kid, please. so so
Well, if he
that's
gets
that.
famous, that interview
Well,
might
he gets
might
famous. I'm
yeah
like,
go for it.
Young MP, I was your first interview, man. So I have that, and also that I did a Halloween video. Well, I talk about like
Yes.
albums that you could listen to Halloween. So that those are the ones that are up right now. And next week, there's some albums I want to review by Pupil Slicer, which I have the promo, and a band that should be more known called Astronoid. Uh,
I
Pretty
know
cool
them.
band.
Good
So
band.
I wanna talk about. I tried to send them an email to interview, but I got no response. Or so yeah. So that's what I have coming up.
Yeah, I know that feeling from when I was trying to get interviews for Symphonic Sundays sometimes. So yeah, I know that feeling. Um, okay, so what's coming up on the Green Man? Obviously, one more Dark Horse Disc episode after this one for this year, but then I'm planning on bringing the series back quite promptly in the new year, and we've got some choice episodes. I think we've got about 9 albums lined up now, so we're getting towards the point where yeah, I might have to draw a line somewhere, else it'll be about 25 albums because there are so many underappreciated records. It's insane that you could just have a list of hundreds, couldn't you? Really. Um, Otherwise. New Hatchie is out, which I've kind of said I'm quite looking forward to, and we'll probably do a review of that.
Weren't you
New
telling us about the new LAX album?
New Ali X is the same
And
day
that comes
release,
out
I
this
think.
Friday?
That's also the 7th of November. So yeah, I'm gonna try and maybe review that as well, but we'll see how things go because I've got a pretty busy work schedule next weekend. Um, and I think I will do my top. That's the other thing. So November, probably in a couple of weeks, I'll be doing my top 10 metalcore albums. So that's one I'm sort of preparing and revisiting old metalcore albums. So that's quite fun to do. Um, and then, yes, we move into the year end time, year end content. So that'll be the top for me. That I'll be doing top 25 albums of 2025 this year. the usual honourable mentions, probably favourite EPs to all that usual, all that usual jazz towards the end of the year. And of course, we will probably first week of December, which is our going to be our final Dark Horse discs of this year, the Pop Queen special. So that'll be the regular crew doing that one. We're recording that. Not yeah, in a couple of weeks after we're recording this one. So thanks everyone for joining us, and I hope you enjoy another episode of Dark Horse Discs here. But until next time, from me and my friends, and bye for now.